with Dian Thomas, right?
Yeah, and she's about to show us how we can make one of these really darling stenciled quilts. Here it is right here on our wall. It's absolutely exquisite. I wish you could see it in person, but you know what? You can do this right at home. If you can, set your VCR so you'll be able, it's a little complicated, so you'll be able to follow along.
But we'll make it simple.
Look at set your VCR now.
Set your VCR
That's right.
now. Okay, so please explain to us how we get started.
Okay, the first thing you're going to need to make this is some stencil paper. We have a glass to cut the stencil out, an echo knife, how do you call it?
Exacto.
Exacto knife, that's right. Some muslin here that we're going to use for the backing. We have a couple of prints that will be on the side of it. We have some batting here, pins, thread, paint, and I'm using fabric paint.
Fabric paint.
Paint, yes.
Sure.
Some stiff bristles
Bristles
for
bristle
your,
brushes.
to do your stenciling. And this is a neat one. I'm actually going to sew this one on the machine, so we have a little
What
quilter
is that?
This is a thing that you put in to quilt it on the machine, so you can sew around the pattern that you're going to be sewing.
Do you remember
on it.
Romper Room? Hello, Darlene, and Bobby, and George, and Johnny, and Fred, and
Sure. Remember Andorra from Bewitched?
And off we go, and then you'll need your sewing machine and cutting material. So let's show you exactly what we do.
Okay.
So the first thing we're going to do is take the muslin, open that up, and you'll need one piece that's 45 inches by 45 inches. This is going to be the back of the quilt. So I'm marking that, and then with my, I love these. Don't you love these?
Oh, those are great. Ami
They're the
Sims
best.
does this all the time.
Yes.
because
The next one, we'll need 4 pieces that are 18 inches square, 18 by 18. So I'm going to first cut that, and then I can open that up and cut out little the 4 18-inch strips. So you'll need 4 of these. These are actually going to be the ones you're going to stencil on, and they'll be the front of the quilt. So we're cutting that out, and then I'm opening that up, and we'll cut the 18-inch ones. And you could actually double this if you wanted to. Then we're taking the pattern part, and we're cutting, this is the light pattern. We'll need 12 of those, and they're 3.5 by, I think it's 12. Okay, these are 3.5 by 3.5. We'll need 9 of these squares, and then we're going to make the stencil. So I've drawn the pattern onto the stencil paper. As you can see, we have the pattern completely. There's 4 hearts and the leaves around it, and then you cut those out. Whenever you cut out a stencil, make sure you leave that X-Acto knife. Don't bring it up and down, just cut it straight around. Now, I'm taking the 18-inch by 18. You have 4 of these pieces. We're going to fold it in half and then fold it again in quarters. I'm trying to get the very center of the point so that when I put my stencil on there, I'll be all set. We tape this on a piece of cardboard, put masking tape on both sides and on the top and the bottom, stretching that out, then put that, there's a little mark right at the top we put right in the center where I ironed that. This time, now we're doing this, the stencil brush with masking tape around it, put that in the paint, and we're going to paint. And you can see how much fun, this is so much fun. You go, I can't believe it, I can't wait to see how the whole thing looks. But we'll now do the leaves, and again, I'm making the outside darker and making the inside light. So when we do take it off, voila, that's what it looks like.
Isn't that pretty?
And then we put the mark right in the center again where I ironed it. And after you get through doing the other side of stenciling it, you take it and iron it. And on this fabric paint, it says to let the iron stay on for 30 seconds, each one of those areas, so that you set the paint so it'll stay there.
There you go.
Very great.
Isn't that fun? And we want to show our audience how to stencil. So we're using the stencil brush, and then actually kind of brush that out before you do it. There you go. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
And then I noticed you went around the side.
Yeah, just kind of brush it. Okay.
Okay.
And there you go. Now lightly brush into the center. Okay.
This is fun.
Isn't that fun?
All right.
So when we
Now we
get
take it
through, we're ready to take this off, and that shows you exactly. Isn't that fun?
Isn't that pretty?
And
That's
that one
so
is
pretty.
so neat.
Okay.
So,
Now, another
Now,
tape
we
here
have
to
another short
how to
tape
assemble.
showing you how
Okay.
to assemble the quilt. So let's go through
okay,
this one.
the
Diane.
first thing, once you have those patterns all set, you're going to take the small pieces, and we actually cut 9 of these pieces. They're 3.5 by 18 inches. Pin that on, and I'm sewing that, and again, every time you come to a pin, you want to stop and take that out so you don't ruin your needle. We'll stitch right along there and connect those together. Now we're connecting the 2 side panels together again with the 18-inch by 3.5 light strip of print that we're doing. And I'm going to pin those on and then actually sew that. We're pinning that together. So when you get that out, can you see how that opens up?
Sure, look at
and
that
you've
open up.
already put it together. So you have those little light prints in between. This time we're taking a 3.5 by 3.5 and connecting those to the light strips. So when you open that up, you have a dark piece on the end, a dark in the middle, and a dark on the other end. We'll, as you always do, iron those seams open. Iron, we're trying to get that ironed out. There we go. lay this on there, and then pin that on, and you can see the dark strip, the light, the dark. So now the key to this is doing the seams and getting those pinned exactly right. And once we've got that all sewed onto that, we open that up and half of the quilt is done. There we go. So you can see half of it is all
really
done.
pretty.
Isn't that easy to do? And it's fun. Then once you get that all put together, you cut the batting out, and I'm going to make the batting a little bit larger than the area so that you'll have some, when you turn over the edges underneath, you'll be all set. Okay, we're putting the top on now and connecting that, and this is a wall hanging, so we're going to actually pin the sides along here and make the hem. Usually if it's a quilt, you'll let the batting be a little bit longer. Then the last piece is to baste the top two. We're basting it, can you see where I'm using my finger, I'm basting those out so that you hold that exactly in place. And then this is that little hoop we showed you.
What does that do?
Well, I'm going to stretch it, and then I can put it underneath and actually sew around each one of those pieces. So we're going to sew around the hearts and all the leaves, and we're quilting by the sewing machine.
Oh,
or you can hand quilt it. Isn't that neat?
That is fabulous.
So this is actually hand quilted. And then the very, very last thing that you do is put the edges on so that we hem off the edge and finish off the quilts. Bring that out. We've sewed that. Turn that over. Turn it over again and turn it underneath, and then pin that. Once you get that pinned all the way around, you can do your little blind stitch.
What are you, 12?
And with the blind stitch, you'll finish off the edge of that quilt, and voila, your wall hanging quilt, and it could be a baby's quilt, is all done. So here we are, just stitching off the edge of that, making the end, and then we'll just whip stitch the very, very end when we're all done, and snip that. And then the last thing is to snip you have thousands of little threads everywhere, so you have to snip those on both sides. Here we go, snip it, and voila, you have a finished quilt.
Look at that.
Isn't that fun? That is
Soft and everything.
Isn't that nice?
You know what, Michael?
Nicely
I'm
done.
going to give this to you.
I would like this.
You know, it's really beautiful. What I love about this one, this really looks old.
This one was actually done 4 or 5 years ago. But one thing I meant to tell you is you have to let the paints dry
before you take off
for
the
24
stencil.
hours before you actually iron that.
Oh.
So let those dry. But that one is
Important
older,
note.
and this one
Okay.
actually is quilted. But you can either do it with sewing machine or by quilting.
It's really great. If you have any more questions, I want you to call Michael. Because he'll be able to tell you this
My home number right there.
step
Absolutely.
instructions. But if you really want to know how to do this, and it is beautiful, I wish you could see it in person.
Sure.
You can get it in ideas in Diana's book, Holiday Fun Year Round. Everything is step by step by step. If you want to order the book, it's 1-800-846-6355. In case you missed any of the steps, it's in her great book
Thanks,
along
Diane.
with other
Thank
projects.
you.
Ask the experts are next. We'll take a break. Be right back.